All right, guys, so in this video, I'm going to be going over what I did to fast track 5+ years experience as an agent into only 1 year. I can remember when I was 19, almost 20, when I first got my real estate license, and I joined a brokerage. I did the class. I did everything right. I got into the business very quickly, and I was super ambitious. And I remember telling like brokers and agents who'd been in the game for a long time, I was like, yeah, like I want to make 100K my first year. Like I want to stack 100K. I want to do a lot. I want to sell $1 million house. I had all these big aspirations, and it wasn't that anyone said anything like off-putting. It was, well, that's not true. It was off-putting, but it wasn't that I said anything technically bad word for word with their verbiage. It was more of just like the connotation behind the words that they said, and the energy was like, yeah, like that's great that you feel like that, but like you're a while away from that. Like 4 or 5 years down the road of experience, you'll be able to get there, but like you got to grow up a little bit first. A little of that was probably true, but for the most part, I've come now to realize that that's completely false. Um, it's not that I did anything specific, but at the time, believing that and thinking that I needed all this experience and knowledge and this, that, and the other, I didn't sell a house for 8 months, because I was like, it kind of killed my ambition. I was like, oh, well, that's really hard and stuff like that. And I didn't sell a house. I made no money for the first 8 months of real estate as an agent. And it wasn't until I noticed these, 6 specific things that I have written down here for this video that actually changed my perspective on everything. And once that changed, I made $140,000 in commission in 6 months. I mean, March, April of 2024 to literally August. I mean, what is that? April, May, June, July, August. I mean, like it was really like 4 months, but like obviously real estate takes 30 to 45 days to get paid out. It took like 6 months to make 140 cash. And then I ended up, making another 30 grand after that. So I did like 170 in the first 8 months of basically selling. Um, and so let me get into it. This is exactly kind of what I did every single day to fast track, 6 years of experience into 1 year, and to prove to you, it's not about skill, it's not about knowledge. You have to have those things to be, able to cooperate with clients and things like that. But it's not about 7 years of experience. You don't have to have 7 years of experience to do 3 deals a month and do 15 million a year in volume and make over 100K. So number one, I picked one specific niche. For a long time, I was a buyer's agent, right? And I took Zillow Premier Leads, and they just weren't good. The people weren't qualified, they weren't serious. It was a little difficult to decipher what they actually wanted. And I wouldn't say I couldn't have closed it because I dropped the ball on a lot of it, and I'll get to that. Because I made a lot of the transactions about me and my proof and my experience and trying to overcompensate for insecurities. But like I said, I picked one niche. I tried to be a buyer's agent, didn't really work. Then I cold called for sale by owners and expired listings like a lot. I'm talking like I got to do it off Fiverr to send me all the information of like past FISBOs and expired listings and stuff like that in my counties and in my zip codes. And I cold called like 100 people a day. That was just very hard to land appointments with people. And even then, it was probably just because I was like, oh, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that. Instead of just like asking the buyer, like, or the seller, like, tell me about like why I didn't sell. Tell me about what your goal is. Tell me about this, that, and the other. And then like, if I just listened to those people for a long time, I probably could have been of value and actually gotten the appointment, gotten the listing, whatever. So none of that worked. So what I did is I was like, look, I see builders are always moving product, and I think I want to work with a developer. Number one, developers and builders is something, being a developer and a builder is something I want to do when I'm like 35. So I'm like, let me get in the game now, and I'm there every day with a construction manager. Let me really grind and see what it is about, so I can see how a house is built, how a transaction is done, what it takes to develop land, all these sort of things. Basically every avenue of real estate, I was like, I'm going to learn that. So I picked new construction. And at the time I had no girlfriend, wasn't going out, like I had no life. So I picked a niche, and it was new construction. And I was like, I'm going to come to this site every day. I'm going to learn from the construction manager about how a home is built. I'm going to learn from my land development manager how land is developed. And I'm going to learn from the builder how he builds the houses. And then I'm going to pick up my own sales like process through this job. I get free leads. I can generate my own leads, and I can pretty much bite off as much as I can and make as much as I can in every single month. So I picked a niche. I focused on one thing. When you try to be a jack of all trades and a master of none, you will never make a lot of money. You can't try to do everything perfectly because it's impossible. People try to do this in every facet of their life. Um, whether it's career, whether it's money, whether it's family, whether it's friendships. You can't be perfect everywhere. So pick one thing, perfect that, and run it to the moon. That's my best advice to fast track 5 years of experience into one. Pick one niche, ball out at it, perfect it, and just run it up as much as you can. Going into my second point, like, dude, I work 7 days a week. I kid you not. That's why I said no girlfriend, no life. Like, I only had to be on site like 3, 4 days, but I would literally, and it was only from like 10 to 4, 10 to 5, something like that. But like, dude, I would go on Sundays. I would go on Sundays from like 10 to 7. I would go on like Fridays from like 9 to 7. I would go on Saturdays from 9 to 7. Like, if I didn't have an appointment scheduled or I wasn't cold calling, I was out there grinding, like some way or another. I was out there trying to do stuff. I would go to other builders and like sit down with their sales rep, sit down with their construction manager, ask them questions, learn. I was out in the field. I probably for 8 months, I was out in the field every single day. And it gave me so much knowledge and so much like experience with talking to people and like comfortability with talking about real estate and transactions. I became an expert, and it became easy for me to sell after that because I worked hard. But most agents, and when I didn't make any money for 8 months, I thought like, oh, I'm just gonna like do a little bit of busy work on Thursday, Friday, and then like Saturday I'll have a few showings, and like Sunday like they'll write the contract. Yeah, that's never gonna work. That's not how you do deals, and that's not how you're gonna get 5 years of experience in only 1 year. You have to be in the field every single day, working your tail off. You don't have to pick new construction, but you need to be at your brokerage Monday through Friday, cold calling, setting appointments, sending CMAs, sending buyer information out, rate updates, meeting with lenders, all these sort of things. Doing something proactive to generate your business on the weekend so that you're actually working a real job, building a career. You can't make 100K not doing anything. I didn't know that. This is the main thing. I'll be real about this. I daily journaled like all of my tasks. So every day I would come in, whether it was in the morning when I woke up before the gym or like when I get to the office, I would sit down and I would journal, okay, I need to do these 7 things today to push the needle forward. And I would rank them from most important to least important. So in the morning, 2 to 3 hours of getting the most important things done, right? And then as the day go on, least important. Maybe it's I used to do custom builds a lot. So like people would come in and I would have an appointment. I would do literally from the smallest thing, like the hardware in the cabinets to the tile in the bathrooms. Like I custom the whole house for these people. And this was a lot of legwork with like spreadsheets and stuff. So like that was more important to me. And I would do that. And then maybe it was like call one of my lenders and just ask them questions. I journaled my daily task, and this was a way for me to stay structured. I was this very structured kid. Like I had to have structure. So that's one thing that I did that made me proactive in the business, and it pushed my success and my experience way faster than someone who just kind of half-assed it for 5 years. I was able to get that experience in 1 year just by having structure and doing the little tiny needle moving tasks every single day. My fourth point, which is a big one, most agents who have been doing this for 7 years don't agree with this, and I don't understand why. It's probably out of ego. I met with lenders and my brokers and my builders like weekly. I would bother these people with questions because the lenders, I'd say, yo, Angel, my boy, send me your rate updates. What's going on with other buyers? Like, what are people saying? What's the best rate program? Like, I'm just staying informed, right? So that when I talk to clients, I look informed and I know what I'm doing. I meet with my broker and builder. So my builder, the dude had $800 million. He exited his last company for $800 million. I'm gonna learn from that guy. Who wouldn't? Brokers, they're brokers, and they have 1,000 listings at one time because they've been doing this for 30 years. And I know some people say, and I say sometimes, oh, the 90s, it's not the 90s anymore, it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't matter. They've seen the market through the 2008 crash, they've seen it through the 2020 boom, they've seen it in the 90s, they've seen it in the early stuff, they've seen it all at this point. So why would you not learn from that? It's complete BS. You have to learn from these people. You have no other option but to learn from people who are more experienced than you. That is the way to fast track your success. That is the way to not wait 7 years on your own experience rather than let me pull together. Basically, I was meeting with over 80 years of experience in this business between my broker, my builder, and my lenders. I was meeting with people basically 100 years of experience of knowledge and weekly was being put into my brain. So I didn't have to wait 7 years for me to try and fail and figure it all out myself to get that quote unquote experience. That's how I put it all into 1 year. Last thing is the main point of this video. I made the transaction about the buyer. Now, most agents who've been doing this for 5 to 10 years, they're going to make the transaction about themselves. Oh, I've done 60 million in volume in my career. Oh, I got them this negotiation. Oh, I have these. You hear the word I a lot, right? And buyers do not care about that. No one does. If Let me think of an analogy. It's like, you know, if I have a broken foot, right? I have a broken foot. I need surgery on my foot. And then a doctor comes in and he's the best hand doctor in the world, dude. He's like, dude, I've done over 1,000 hand surgeries. Like I can probably do your foot though. Like I know what I'm doing with surgery. I've helped this many people. I've made this much money. I'm sitting there going, dude, I need a foot doctor. Like, I don't need a hand doctor. Like, what can you do for my situation? If you can't do anything for my situation, then you're not have helped me, and this is a waste of my time. Learn about the buyer. Learn their most desired outcome, their situation. What's their financial situation? What's their current living situation? What's their goal? What's their 1 year goal? What's their 5 year goal? Where do they want to be with a monthly payment? All these sort of things. What do they want their rate to be? Listen and learn from them for 30 to 40 minutes on first initial meet with them, and then provide your value to that specific situation. Dudes that talk too much in sales, any sort of sales, especially real estate, never sell a lot. It's not about you. You're not here to prove yourself. If you do that as a green agent, it's going to be obvious you don't know what you're doing. The best thing you can do is listen, and then provide the value based on what they need that you can provide. If you can do that, you can fast track 7 years of experience into 1 year, 5 years of experience, whatever. I promise that I was living proof of this. I did it every day. Those 5 things bullet points that I just put on there for you, I did it and it works. And it works for me still. It works for me still. I'm still not 7 years of experience. I'm not an agent with 7 years of experience, and I outsell those people. Experience and skill does not matter. It just matters if you can do the little things every day, invest in yourself, educate yourself, and make it about the buyer and not make it about yourself. I'll catch you guys in the next one.